Hello, hello, hi everyone. I didn't know that I'm up suddenly. Hi everyone, my name is Irene Umar and welcome to our Airdrop Hunters Special Edition AMA. And today we have a very, very special guest with us who's having their TGE tomorrow. But first off, just want to say how is everyone doing? I hope that everyone have had your dinner and you're ready for the AMA on do airdrops still work? And the AMA format will be a bit different. We don't want to do things normally. We have representative from Tribally, the entire team actually. We have Rare, Bass, and Indies. And at the same time, we also have the Indie Hunters, Shanks from the Philippines, Shadubak, and Wardi from Indonesia. So it's a face-off pretty much from people who provide airdrops and also people who are hunting for airdrops. And without further ado, I'm just wondering whether or not we can pull out all the speakers to be up. Hello there, how are you doing?
GM, I'm really good. And you chose an awesome day to spring on a camera space, as a few days ago I tweeted somewhat foolishly that maybe now is the time in the cycle that I get a Tribally tattoo, and I could probably reveal it on stream.
You did? Did you get a tattoo?
So GM, pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite. Looking forward to chatting to you guys about airdrops.
A pleasure to meet everyone again. So Rare, I think we have Indes. Is that how to pronounce your name, or is it Indies?
Yeah, that's correct. Indes.
Indes, cool. Would you guys like to say hi and introduce yourself? We're in such a beautiful tropical weather right now, right?
I'm going to temporarily rug Indes of his own introduction because he's going to be far too humble. So Indes is our market genius, shall we say, and he probably needs no introduction to this audience. He's five-time champ, an absolute GOAT in Axie Classic, and right now he is busy helping us on two fronts. One is all the technical stuff about tokenomics and market making, and the other, he's actually been live streaming every day on Tribally, promoting our recently launched challenges feature. So if you fancy taking on the Axie Go Indes and earning some tribal in the process, jump into tribally.games/challenges. With that little rug done, Indes, definitely jump in and say your bit. I will quickly say that I'm Rare. Real name is Adam, co-founder and occasional marketing at Tribally. We are an entertainment platform for gamers. We actually started out in the Axie space, launching Axie Tech back in April of 2021, and I guess many people here will have used that. If you did, we appreciate you doing so. And over time, we've evolved to the point now where we launched Tribally Games in November of last year. It's an entertainment platform for gamers. The community has grown to over 120,000 gamers who have, in that time, exchanged more than 750,000 GMs, which you can kind of think of as a Web3 poke. They have recorded more than 16 million gaming activities. And in the last week, which is the time it's been live, they have completed 1 million challenge bets which is pretty mental. We only launched
Fantastic.
that a day before the day before our Play to Airdrop went live, and the Play to Airdrop wrapped up on Monday at midnight UTC. It was a little bit different to many in that there were 31 different games featured, and you could basically earn points across all of those different games in platform, on Twitter, and in those games. So I think that's enough from me. Indes, I know I've already bigged you up, but I don't know if you want to give your own little hello.
Thank you for that, Ray. Indes, you want to give yourself a bit of intro, and maybe it's your time for a payback to give intro to Ray as well.
Wow, yeah, I appreciate the intro. This happens every time we go on a space because Rare knows I would probably just introduce myself as the market analyst at Tribally and left that at that. But yeah, we have our marketing head, Rare, absolute genius. And as you can see now, Tribally tattoo sporter, which he was not too excited about having to show straight on stream. And I've heard that that's not the only place he's got a Tribally tattoo, but it is the only place we'll be able to show today.
I hope the communities that represents us will be having a W3GG tattoo pretty soon, yeah? So that's Rare and Indes. Thank you so much for jumping in the call with us. I know that you guys have a big day tomorrow. Your TGE is happening, and that's why today we're going to be here to talk about not only the TGE but also the airdrop campaign that you guys have just completed P2A, so that the whole world will know whether or not the airdrops still work or not. And now moving on to the community side, we've got 3 really good-looking dudes over here. Wardi, a dear friend of mine, I'd like to start with you. I know it's your first time doing an AMA, and so thanks a lot for this.
Thanks for having me. I mean, yeah. First, would it be the first time? I mean, first time here. So I'm a podcaster as a side hustle. I've been in the space since 2018, and I've been doing airdrop. I think is about mid 2022, so it's about 2 years back. And since then, I think been moving around here and there. I'm based in Singapore, and I'm part of the ARC community. That's how we actually met. How I met Irene from ARC. So yeah, so this I'm hoping to have a good night and good chat with all of you. So far,
Thank you.
That's from me.
Thank you so much, Wardi. So by having you is important. It demystifies what people think, that Singapore is a prosperous nation and they don't freaking need airdrops. We've got an airdrop hunter over here. So thanks for being here. Shanks and Shadley, over to you.
You want to go first, Chad?
All right. Oh, I go first?
Right. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, guys, Jim. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm Shadley. I'm from Philippines, and I've been here in space since 2020, and I've been a content creator and community leader since then, and been doing airdrops for more than 2 years now. I think that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Shanks.
Yep. Hi, guys. My name's Shanks. From the Akagami crew. I've been doing airdrops, or not really actively doing that. I think my first one was accidental airdrop with Uniswap, because I started around August of 2020, and that was with Axie. And luckily, my first swap on that platform on Uniswap was before the snapshot, which is around September the 1st. So it was huge. I mean, had I forgotten to check that wallet, I could have had 17K, but I sold it at 3. Wow. I sold it at 3. I mean, in my defense, I sold it to create more teams, and that's why I'm with YGG. They got me into YGG as their scholarship manager, because that's the hype during that time.
Thanks for that, Shanks. I think the moral of the story is do not dump everything that you got at airdrop from day one.
I don't even know it was an airdrop. It was just like, hey, it's free money, and I'm a noob at the time, so. Cool.
Thanks for that piece of experience.
I'm being defensive now.
I can see that, so I'm rescuing you right now, Shanks. Thank me later. So the way that the AMA works is going to be a bit different than how we usually do it. I'm not going to go around the table asking the same questions, but I'd like to start from perhaps the tribally side first, right? A lot of people have been debating whether or not airdrop campaigns still work because the meta has been before TGE, let's do an airdrop campaign. Everyone is doing it, right? So just want to hear from Rhea or Indes. Do you think it still work? And if it does or if it doesn't, what does Tribally do differently in preparations for the TG? Because I love Tribally. Tribally is always very community driven and community focused. So I really am very curious to hear from you directly of what's the difference on your airdrop than the normal ones.
I appreciate you saying that, Irene, because we are very much a community driven organization, and in fact in the original release video that we put out for Tribal back in, I think it was April of this year, and we've reposted it a million times since then, we actually say that Tribal is by the community for the community in the very first like video. And that actually it's not just a marketing slogan. The thesis here is that there are two things really driving the value of Tribal, and I'll come back to those in a bit more detail later. One of them is essentially the network effects. So as the community grows, because of the way Tribal is designed, we should see the value of the ecosystem grow, and Tribal allows our community members to share in that value as it grows. In terms of do play to airdrops actually work, it's probably worth me just clarifying why we're actually doing a play to airdrop. So for us, Web3 provides a really interesting opportunity in that we are able to align incentives of basically all participants of a business, which hasn't been done before in Web 2. Typically, you'll have three maybe different parties who are interested in the direction of a company. You might have the founders, you might have the investors, and then you might have the product users, and they might not always have the same incentives. Through Tribal or through Web3 tokenomics, as a whole, we think that we can distribute Tribal to community members who are already aligned with our goals to better align them and sync with our long-term ambitions, ultimately turning community into your biggest and most powerful product evangelist. And they would sit right at the top of the user acquisition funnel, be that on Twitter, Discord, anywhere really. And they are the touch points welcoming new users into the ecosystem. So that's why we're doing the play to airdrop. It's all about rewarding users and aligning their incentives with their own. Does it work? Well, we jolly well hope so, because over the next 3 days, the way things are going down is 8 a.m. UTC tomorrow. We have the Tribal public token sale that takes place at invest.tribally.games. You can participate with a Ronin wallet, with a Coinbase Smart wallet, or with a MetaMask wallet. It was really, really, really important to us with our origins in the Ronin ecosystem, going back to day one with AxiTech, that there was a way for Ronin users to participate in the public token sale for Tribal. Now, the way, and Indes may jump in and correct me on this, but the public token sale could last for 1 second, it could last for 48 hours, but when the public token sale ends, we have the token generation event, and at that point, we will distribute Tribal to anyone who bought Tribal in the public token sale, anyone who bought Tribal in our community pre-sale, which was back in April of this year, the 4th of April, because for the memes, and we were really blessed to have that sell out in 90 seconds through the same platform that we are launching the public token sale, which is Spring, another Ronin partner. And just while I'm on the topic, I will mention that MetaLend are the other Ronin partner who are allowing us to provide Tribal to Ronin users to buy, to hold, and to trade through their Ronin wallets. We are going to distribute Tribal to not only the people that bought at public token sale, at pre-sale, but also anyone that won Tribal during our play to airdrop campaign. So this is slightly unique, I believe. I don't know if anyone else has done this yet, but essentially anyone who acquired a share of 24 million Tribal during the 7-day play to airdrop campaign, including the legend who picked up 420,069 Tribal for finishing in first place, Pratap, shout out to you, sir. Any of those people can unlock trade, whatever, on day one with no lock or vest period. Is it going to work? We'll find out. We do have some indication of how this may go, and we are blessed to have an incredible team of advisors, including Indes, with a wealth of knowledge on tokenomics and market making in this space and in the broader financial markets. And in the week prior to this public token sale, we have seen a significant amount of tribal distributed. Please don't fact check me on this. I think it's something in the region of 2 million tribal. The stats are constantly out of date because they're growing so rapidly. And that is a consequence of a recently released feature called Challenges, which allows gamers to challenge each other for tribal, but also allows them to place free bets on one another. And essentially, the more bets that are placed, the more tribal is earned by the participants of the challenge. This has really resonated with our community, and we've seen more than 1 million bets placed in 7 days. I think it was 1.2 million we ended up at across the 120,000 gamers that are on Tribally. So a huge amount has been given out as a consequence of this spike in user activity, and more tribal was actually spent in that period on the Blessings machine, which is our spin on Gacha, where gamers can win prizes that are relevant to the games and the game types that they're playing, and on the Battle Pass. I think everyone understands the concept of the Battle Pass, but just quickly, you are not the Battle Pass. You unlock more within the tribal ecosystem, including additional tribal learning opportunities. We've seen more spent on those two token syncs than we've actually emitted through the play to airdrop and the events going on throughout the play to airdrop campaign. The 24 million tribals are separate to that hasn't been dropped yet, but the figures at the moment are looking pretty tasty. If you're wondering where is this tribal coming from, in terms of, I'm saying that more is being spent than is being issued, and we haven't actually launched the token yet. It's coming from the users who have spent 8 months acquiring tribal every single day on Tribally. There are 4 different ways to earn it just by playing your favorite game. So all just to quickly recap on that, why are we doing it? It's aligning incentives so that our community can become our biggest product evangelist. We are dropping tribal to everyone prior to it becoming tradable. And whilst we have absolutely no idea what happens next, we are pretty bullish given the figures that we've seen in the last 7 days. To sort of just expand beyond that, and people might think, well, why do I want tribal? In 1 month, before the end of this month, we're launching USDC wagers at the moment. They're free wagers. And by staking tribal from first, second week in October, our users will be able to become the bookmaker, and they actually earn a USDC commission on betting volume. So that is ultimately what's going to be driving the value of tribal over the coming months. More betting volume, more staking rewards, and so far so good with 1.2 million bets in a week. Indes, I hope I haven't butchered anything. Please feel free to jump in if you want to correct me on anything, but I think I've answered.
Oh, sorry, Ray.
Yeah,
I do have a question though. Yeah,
I know Shanks is itching over there because Shanks is an old-timer, OG's a Ronin guy. And then Wardi over there is that, should I not? Ask away, guys. That's why we have the communities over here to help me to do my job, to grill.
Grill away. We're open to difficult questions. If it's too difficult, I will simply disconnect and leave Indes in charge.
That's actually a really smart decision. I'm going to do it to Chin later. Yeah.
It is starting to rain. My reception is getting far away.
Go ahead, Shanks.
Yeah, it's just an easy question. But are those tokens about to be airdrop vested or?
Yeah, so there's unlock at TG.
100%.
100%.
Okay, I do have a follow up, but I think Wardy and Shadley might want to ask something.
Yeah, but my question is a bit more general because, I'm not sure whether Shanks and Shad would agree with me, but surely this year have been, it's a lot up and down, especially for those who's doing airdrops, right? And many disappointments and from some of people get disappointed of ZK saying Layer 0 and all those whatever big names out there. And I it's probably can't be denied that the excitement towards airdrop is just all time low at the moment, and there are still a lot of opportunity obviously in terms of like play to earns. I mean, I think Gombo is doing also the same, play to earn airdrops. But my question to you, Rare, do you really still see a lot of excitement, a lot of people coming in and really do it for an airdrop? Also, I noticed there's a lot of shift since like end of last year, where people like us, where we do things manually, and then gradually beginning of the year, we start seeing a lot more institutional grade kind of farming where every person have like 3,000 wallets and such a things. So how do you kind of like sieve out those cybles, so to say? Because in the end, I believe you want to incentive the real users, right? Not one user with like 2,000 wallets, something like that.
Two great questions there. So to pick up the first one, did we see people kind of coming in? Yes. So prior to our play to airdrop, I say only, we only had 70,000 gamers active, and that is now 120,000 gamers a week later. So it's certainly, the airdrop certainly brought the airdrop hunters to the yard, to make an absolutely terrible pun. I do deeply apologise. We had a really interesting mechanic in that no one that participated in our play to airdrop would go home empty-handed, and that was possible because there were still 4 different mechanics running Tribal that were live every single day during our play to airdrop, and we actually saw some people participating in one particular thing but not participating in the airdrop at the same time. So saw a tweet yesterday where someone said that they were actually their experience of the play to airdrop was, they kind of swerved it and they focused solely on challenges, and they tweeted that they basically picked up more Tribal from focusing 100% on challenges during that 7-day period than they would have received, from the airdrop by doing as much as they could in that same time. So that was really, really interesting to see that there were actually several things running in conjunction with one another, and people had the choice. In terms of airdrops in general, I've participated in 2 very recently. One was Pixels and the other one was Wild Forest. I think Pixels, as much as I love the game, it was far too grindy. I thought I was going hard, doing like 4-hour shifts. I spoke to one of the Tribally founding creators, who's founder of Big Yak Axie Club and an absolute OG of the Axie space, and I believe one of the founding members or lead members of the Axie Council. Forgive me, creator, if I've got that title wrong. But I spoke to him, and he basically told me he was sleeping about an hour and a half a day, and for the rest of the day was doing farming routes that were 4 hours long, recharging his energy, by which time he could start the route again and just loop it, which probably confirms why he finished 16th and I finished in like 4,752nd. But for me, that was too grindy. I think the second Wild Forest play to airdrop was just about the perfect blend in terms of asset ownership, rewarding asset ownership and involvement. But I felt it was a bit long. It was 28 days. I'm not saying that was the wrong solution, but for me, it was too long. Possibly because we've got a million things going on, and actually finding the time to compete was tough. But we went. We could have done something a little bit different. We've come to the table with 31 different games that you can participate in. At the same time, you had other mechanisms for owning Tribal, such as challenges, which is what we're describing as play to earn 2.0. There has been some grumbling. We've had people frustrated because they're trying to do things, they don't understand things, and it all comes from a good place. And it's honestly a privilege to have people coming to us with these types of concerns, because it shows that they care. But the feedback I have seen, and I have lived on Twitter for the last 7 days, sleeping very little in that time, and I'm seeing people tweeting things like it's the best play to airdrop they've ever participated in. I'm seeing people tweeting about how they've played new games that they've never thought to play. I'm seeing absolute diehard maxis. I'm going to shout out one of them, Yeye. He was the top place finisher on the very first Wild Forest play to airdrop campaign. Absolutely dominated that. And yesterday he tweeted that for the first time he's dived in to explore Aperon. Aperon another one of our awesome Ronin partners, completely different game type to Wild Forest. It's a game that blows my brains. I can't understand what's going on when people are explaining it to me in real time. The people that are playing that are big brain esports legends, and they have reactions that are far quicker than mine. I think, he tweeted to say that he has, aped into Aperon and bought some planets, bought some of the fossils, and that he described that as the tribal effect. And I actually saw then several other people turn that into like a copy pasta tweet. Stats back it up though. We saw, big movement in the floors of, I think it was 7, maybe 8 different Ronin collections within the first 24 hours of our play to airdrop. The Aperon one is a stat that's visible in my mind. If you look at the 14-day stats on the Aperon floor, it's kind of sitting at $20, and now it's sitting at a steady $35. So, we've driven value to our games partners that were participating in that. And while that's all going on, all of our growth mechanics, which is ultimately what Tribally is about, we're running simultaneously for our growth partners, one of whom experienced 1,000% growth in DAU over our 7-day play to airdrop campaign. So everything we do has been running simultaneously along with play to airdrop, which I think in a roundabout way brings me back to the answer of the question, which is, did we see people coming in? Absolutely yes. How do we sort out the bots? Essentially, it's the fact we had so many different things going on, which required game accounts, different actions within games. We did see a few people attempt to sort of exploit the challenges system, but we got on top of that pretty swiftly. Nothing would. If we were at 1 million users right now, I'd be sitting here saying there are bots and we don't know how many there are. But 120,000 with the engagement stats and time on site stats that we get, we're pretty confident that the people participating in this play to airdrop were real gamers, and we're looking forward to letting them share in the growth of Tribally once they get their hands on the tribal token.
Cool. Does that satisfy you, answer-wise, Swardi?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, that's I think that's a good reply from Rare. I can see it. Just obviously, if it's 120K, I think that's a sweet spot for the kind of Tribally does. I mean, we're not looking at 500K and a million kind of user inflow suddenly from 70K. So that's kind of still acceptable. I think that's 2x from almost 2x from what they're doing previously. And the important thing is again, when we had as an airdrop hunters or people who's really just doing for airdrops, sometimes we kind of want, when we're doing things repetitively and then we like it, we stick to it. And then if you remember, similar to what block games actually did in terms of doing the things, but whatever they did wrong during their TGE and so on, people just left. And I guess that's kind of also one of learning situations that you might want to avoid it definitely in the future. So.
I think that's a great point, and it just brings up something relevant that we've been discussing recently. So everything that we build, whether that's actually breeding simulators, whether it's in-platform capabilities, is kind of built to prove that we can do it again and again and again. And one thing that we've realized, having looked at the data from the play to airdrop, is we actually now have a means to offer games play to airdrop as a service sustainably 24/7, 365 on Tribally. So we could run a play to airdrop literally every day forever, sustainably, all driven by challenges. Will that happen? We don't know. Let's see. We just realized it's a possibility. So I just wanted to sort of touch on that point, because I thought it was very relevant to what you were saying there, Wardy. There is something else, but it's literally flipped out of my mind. So if it comes back to me, I'll jump in.
I have $1 million questions for everyone here, right? I mean, did you guys do the play to airdrop campaign? Just a very quick round of Wardi, Shanks, Shadley. Yes, no? No for Wardi. Shanks, did you do it? And Shad?
I didn't do it, but most of my community members do the play to airdrop campaign of Tribally.
Quote unquote basic. They said it was basic. I mean, pretty much self-explanatory for them. And I mean, unlike all other airdrops, where I don't know, a bunch of disappointments lately.
So
I
so
think what
you're
it's just come to me where I was going with my second thought there. Shanks has just prompted me. I think one of the reasons many projects have struggled is that they have launched play to airdrops like way too soon, and then you kind of have this issue where you're trying to keep community on the wheel for 7, 8 months, 10 months, a year, 2 years in some cases,
seven,
and
8 months is too much, man.
It's like
it's hard.
torture.
In
Whereas
crypto,
we've done
months would be like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
exactly. So we've done this completely back to front. We launched the platform with a fully functioning token economy. It just was on platform. It wasn't the real token, and it's still to this very day is until you know we closed the public token sale. It's still really just an on-chain version of Tribal. It does convert 1 for 1 for anyone who's has a stash of Tribal on the platform and is curious. But yeah, we've actually launched fully functional economy months before even mentioning there was a token, and that was really important to us because we wanted to ensure that user behavior didn't drastically change once the token was live. And as I mentioned earlier, but I think it's worth quickly recapping, in the 7-day play to airdrop campaign, we saw more Tribal spent on the 2 different token syncs that we have already live on Tribally than was actually emitted during all activities on the platform in that time. And that was several million Tribals. We're not talking small quantities. It was really important for us to have at least one sync live before we launched Tribal. We've actually, like everything we do, we tend to release stuff early rather than the Web3 norm, which is late. Sorry to anyone I have just slayed with that comment, but we all know it's true, right? We all make promises and we can't keep them. We do it the other way. We just build stuff, we announce it's live, and we iterate on it as quickly as we physically can. On that point, for anyone that's looking at challenges for the first time and sees 782 pages of challenges they have to scroll through, it takes you about 24 hours to scroll through all of them and complete all of your free bets. We are already building a completely revised, enhanced UI just 1 week after this has gone live. And now that we have an idea of how much betting volume is coming through the site, and we can predict how many matches are going to be taking place, we're going to be creating sort of visibility tools and features for gamers who are actively participating in challenges that get their streams brought to the front page of Tribally. So right now we've got kind of 8 to 10k DAU, 25 to 30k weekly active users. Can't say accurately because the numbers are just going up every day and the stats are always out of date. But if your stream is featured on the Tribally homepage, all of those viewers will count towards your Twitch stats. So if you're partnered or whatever with Twitch, it's about giving you an extra boost. We're all about trying to reward the community, by the community, for the community. And just very quickly to slide at this point in, during the 7-day play to airdrop campaign, we were running like a create Tribally content as a competition. Every single day we picked one tweet. The author of that tweet, and whether that was a meme, an infographic, a video, whatever, a thread, piece of art, literally anything. The person who posted that tweet received 10,000 Tribal. They also received 24 hours of social boosting. So what this did in that 7-day period was put more than 20,000 likes and retweets on the content of creators who were posting to support Tribally. I have spoken to every single person who received the boost, and they all picked up, significant followers and engagement from, just beyond the actual vanity metrics. And this is because the people who are completing these social quests and sharing their content are our most engaged gamers. So yeah, that worked really well for them, and we'll be continuing to do that over the coming few days. Just if anyone wants to get involved with that, please focus your content on the public token sale, which kicks off 8 a.m. UTC on September the 5th, because that's the kind of content we'll be boosting. And we are going to probably boost 3 posts per day for the next 48 hours. Just before this call started, our awesome engineers jumped out to tell me that they have basically, to take a step back, we launched social questing a few days before our play to airdrop. We were seeing about 400 people engage with this on day one. That quickly scaled to sort of 2,500, 3,000 people per tweet that was boosted, and we broke everything. We set fire to the Twitter data servers. Elon has personally been texting me, telling me to chill out, and he will dump all his Tribal if we stop breaking his tech. And essentially, what the engineers have done is they've re-engineered this so that we can now scale up without setting Twitter headquarters on fire. So I'm about to, as soon as this space finishes, go and find a bunch of awesome creators who have made Tribally stuff and boost their stuff for the next 24 hours and hopefully drive them a bunch of engagement.
You know what, Ray? You've got two creators here that are really great, which is Shanks and Shad, right? They're pretty quiet, but they are actually one of the best content creators in the Philippines. Shout out to these two. And Wardi is quietly sitting over there, but he is a podcaster and a dear friend of ours. Now, one thing that I'd like to ask you, you mentioned a whole bunch about Tribally, and we all agree that Tribally is definitely a community focus, and that's why we kick off the AMAs with Tribally, because we believe in the community as well in WGG. And so just want to learn from you. You mentioned that the airdrop campaign is done. You've done all the tech bit, all the community a bit precautionary, and everything is pretty much in place, right? Because you don't want to do things last minute, everything is planned. So now, ahead of the TGE, what will define success for you? What is the success indicator? Like the airdrop campaigns and formula that we do, it works. What is success looking like for you?
I suppose the to drill it down is that we finished the week with sufficient roadmap to continue expanding our incredible development team and not filing job applications at the local McDonald's. And I suppose that would be the TLDR version of what defines success. For us, the public token sale is it's actually very much the beginning. We've been building relentlessly since the 14th of April 2021, which is when we launched AxiTech. For anyone that doesn't know the origins of AxiTech, very, very quickly, 3 friends from university. We've known each other for a long, long time, 20 plus years.
Too long, I suppose.
We entered the Web3 space through kind of a Twitter ghost, Lev. It was actually my housemate at university and the best man at my wedding. He hounded myself and Best Axis, who's now co-founder and CEO, into checking out Axie Infinity. And it was at a time when, SLP earnings were $1 a month. It wasn't the financial incentives, it was the tech. And for us as gamers and lifelong gamers, I now have a son who is 16 and has been a gamer. We used to play Fortnite together on iPads when he was 5, 6 years old. For us, the actual ability to own your gaming stuff is just, it's quite clearly, in our opinion, the future, and it's what drove us to actually spinning up AxiTech, and credit to Best. He unfortunately, and I should have said this earlier, apologies for Best not being able to join. He's doing some last minute stuff with our early investors. And we are blessed to have some OGs from the space invested in Tribally. Sorry, I'm about to be attacked by a wasp, so I may have to literally run off stream and leave this to Indes. But he built the original
Ray, we would like to see you run pretty much on camera.
In his garden shed. Yes. I did have to run off the sound check earlier, so it appears that the wasp that I may have bludgeoned to death with a towel has now summoned the rest of his family to finish me off. So this could be the end. If I do have to run, I'm so sorry. But yes, just to close that thought, we built AxiTech literally, for the community. It was built in a garden shed. I don't know if a shed is an English thing, but it's essentially a wooden box, no bigger than 2 meters by 1 meter, that is in your garden where you put your bicycle and your hose pipe. AxiTech was built there, and 3.5 years later, we are honoured to be launching Tribal and putting it in the hands of the community who've been with us for so long.
So in summary, Ray, if you could before the wasps get to you, in one, maybe in 2 bullet points, right? One sentence. What is the indicators that you want to see for post TGE that, hey, the airdrop works? Obviously, one is the token doesn't tank, right? And then what's the second one?
Well, for us, price is something that we haven't really spoken about at any point ever. We as a company, we try and focus on the use case for things. So, for example, in our blessings machine right now, there are over 5,000 prizes from games from all across Web3. Some of those prizes are, trading at 50 cents a dollar. Some of those prizes are trading at, several $1,000s. We're about to drop, well, I say about to. There is the possibility that our deity, which is a one of 4 rarity from the Tribally Tiki NFT collection, may well appear in the Blessings machine sometime soon. We haven't actually seen one sold yet since they were minted a few months ago. We have seen offers publicly rejected of 4.5 and 10 ETH, which is pretty mind-bending. But irrespective of the value, we don't tend to, when we announce these prizes, we're not saying come and win this $500 asset, come and win this $600 asset, because we think that drives the wrong kind of behavior. It's about selling it. And combined with the fact that the prizes that we distribute are targeted to a gamer's interests, what we're seeing is that irrespective of the value of the prizes, is that the gamers who are winning them are keeping them. And I think the most expensive item that we have distributed through the Blessings machine to date is a one of one Tribesters community NFT. I think they have traded for sort of 3.5 to 4 ETH. That's still with the person who won it, and that's probably the most expensive item in a trading sense that we have sold. In terms of the token, you probably won't hear us shouting about price too much. We'll be shouting about what's actually the purpose of Tribal. And in the immediate term, the use case of Tribal is that it allows people to become the bookmaker. So just to recap, we have the Tribal public token sale starting at 8 a.m. UTC tomorrow. That could run for up to 48 hours. When it ends, we will distribute Tribal to everyone. Pre-sale investors, play to airdrop, legends who secured top 4,000 spot, and anyone that buys in the public token sale. At that point, it can be, it can obviously be freely traded. Before the end of the month, USDC betting will go live for Tribally challenges, and in October, that's when you can become the bookmaker. By staking Tribal, you will earn a USDC yield driven by betting volume on Tribal. That's the immediate driver of the token price. Will we comment on the token price? We probably will have to play the game slightly, and if we're on crypto heavy podcasts and spaces, we probably will be leaning into it and how it's doing. But the success for us is probably still user numbers, user adoption, and use of particularly the challenges feature, which, as I say, apologies to repeat this and repeat it again maybe before the space is up. We saw 1.2 million bets placed in the 7-day play to airdrop campaign, which is a good sign, given its ultimately betting volume that will drive the value of Tribal in the short term. In the longer term, it's much more to do with the overall size of the ecosystem. And again, apologies for repeating this. As the Tribal ecosystem grows, Tribal holders will share in the value of that growth, and ultimately it comes down to network effects. So we're already starting to see it grow quicker and quicker as more people support it.
Awesome. Shad, I haven't heard from you. So you said that you don't do it, but then what you did was your community has been doing the play to airdrop. So why didn't you do it? And now hearing that from Rare saying that content creators for the next 3 days will be boosted, are you gonna do it?
Yeah, I'm sure, for sure, I will do it.
So that's a deal. So why didn't you do it before?
There have been so many play to airdrops lately, so that's why I didn't do it. But I have a question for Rare.
Shoot away, Shad.
My question is for the post airdrop plans of you guys, because based on my experience, people just leave the project right after participating on the play to airdrop campaign. So guys, what steps will you take to ensure the airdrop participants are motivated to use or invest in your platform after the airdrop campaign?
So great question. And this is actually the fact that we will see people that just instantly dump Tribal is actually one of the reasons we've decided to let people take their airdrop immediately, because it removes market uncertainty. We're unlocking 24 million Tribal, day zero. We'll know pretty quickly what impact that has on the market. Whereas if we'd held that back and had Lark invest and you've got to jump through 3 hoops and do a forward roll to claim your airdrop, we have no idea what actually is going on. Are people really holding on to it and using it within the ecosystem, or are they just tied in forever. It's really important for us that wasn't the feeling. Now we will obviously see people that sell. We've had questions, and we are literally providing video tutorials that show people how to sell, should they wish to. That's fine. If people have come into our ecosystem through the play to airdrop and they sold tokens, not a problem, because the activities that they were completing in order to earn tribal were adding value to either Tribally or our games partners through amplifying their content through the social quests, or actually doing things within games during that 7-day play to airdrop campaign. And one of our games partners experienced 1,000% DAU growth in that 7-day period. So whether every single tribal is sold from the people that participated, it's kind of irrelevant, because we've provided value during that time. However, that's not to say we haven't thought about this deeply. And the immediate use case for tribal is it allows people to become the bookmaker and share I'm going to stress this, a USDC yield, which is particularly big because we always took the stance that we will not do staking, because staking, Indes may want to fact check me here, but ultimately the mechanic is the more of a whale you are, the more you're going to get, the more sell pressure you potentially might put on the ecosystem. We're not emitting tribal, we're emitting USDC. So people dump it. I don't know whose problem that is, but it's not ours. So we thought about this a lot, and it was actually the betting mechanic that made that possible, which was huge for us, because we know that Web3 folks are perhaps expecting when there's a token there is a staking mechanism. So for us to actually be able to offer that was a big thing, and for us to offer it in a way that is sustainable was huge. So short term TLDR, owning tribal, staking tribal allows you to share in a percentage of the betting commissions from the challenges that are being placed on Tribally, and we've seen 1.2 million of those in 7 days, which should give you an idea of how that may look for you if you start to stake your Tribal, which is live from middle of October.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Red. Now, for the tree communities, you guys have been very polite and nice. But then you guys have been very mean to Rare and been shooting him only. We have Indes over there. Any questions for Indes, guys? I know you guys have been friends with Indes. I see some comments saying that I know Indes when he's still making contents for Axie on YouTube, but we have to be fair. So, any questions for Indes, guys?
I mean, my questions maybe is still like the TGEs and around that. Like, why now?
Why
that's
now?
really questions where
Yeah.
I mean, we are in a space, and then usually if you want to launch these kind of campaigns and you want to do TGE, people do look at the market conditions, wait, I don't know, after rate cuts next 2 weeks, or maybe near elections where Ivory a little bit more higher than now, where maybe if you're in grid index not like below 30 like what we have in the past days, right? So one is that my first question is that why now? What makes you decide that this is the best time? So my second question comes into that what Rare mentions about the stakings and the revenue share through gambling. I do know another project that's exactly doing that. It's called Dubs. I think Dubs is also doing similar things. You can basically bet in the gaming ecosystems where you can stake Dubs and then earn USDC as well. At this moment, I do not know whether you guys are all more in the GameFi, I think, more of a space. So I came from the GameFi of the space. I'm a Rollbit maxi. I started from very early with Rollbit. And honestly, at this moment, GameFi is the one that brings money towards the GameFi. We're still waiting for the next Axie, so to say. We haven't seen that AAA games that bring adoptions and bring a lot of people, bring excitements to the crypto gaming space. I'm hoping that Off the Grid will do that, but somehow it's not coming into this. I mean, it's still delaying. So, where do you see our GameFi space at the moment compared to GameFi, because if the GameFi is still the one who drive GameFi, I don't think that is so to
You've actually
say where we want to
flagged a
be.
great point,
That's
Wardy.
it.
And
Right, right. Shall we get Indes to speak a little
well,
bit on that one?
I want Indes to handle the timing because he is the absolute goat of this kind of stuff. But Wardy's just picked up flagged a really sort of important point there, which may have just literally slipped out of my head while I was answering that side quest. Indes, hit the market timing stuff. Oh, sorry, Wardy, you picked up on it. You've just made an amazing point, right? You're saying GambleFi is driving adoption. This is literally it. If we're honest with ourselves, there are two things that drive adoption of new technologies. One is adult entertainment, and the other is betting. And we are bringing betting to Web3 through the vehicle that everyone knows and loves, which is gaming.
Not
you're absolutely on the nose with this. Indes, I'm going to chuck this to you with the timing. I don't know which way you are on the stream, but here you are this way. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, as for the time, as you clearly rightly mentioned, most projects right now, they're trying to delay whatever TG they had, or delay rounds till Q4, Q1 next year. And really, with the state of the alt market at the moment, I think we would be much more confident launching in more questionable conditions, but confident in our user base and confident that with our product that's already proven to have got good adoption over the time we've had it out, that we can not exist completely in our own little ecosystem away from the rest of the market, but at least that we don't want to be fighting for this mass market share of what really every single lot under the sun is going to launch in Q1 next year. We're going to have big unlocks, and the fight for CX listings, fight for listings across different taxes and everything, all of that in these sort of conditions is a lot harder. Now every CX under the sun is desperate for new listings, desperate for new volume, and really we're sort of seeing it as an opportunity to not only not be like the rest and push back our TG and really just take on the market, and think that we're confident in our product and we're confident with where we are at, that we can still go ahead. And I think you guys may not know, but we actually pushed back in July because we hadn't managed to roll out our challenges features yet, and we were sort of a lot less further along in our product lifecycle. And so we decided to push back then, less for the market conditions and more with how mature the product was. But now we're going into a stage where we've got a fully fledged product, and as we said, token syncs on site that are all a lot more fleshed out than most projects are going into a TGE. Oftentimes they'll do raises and TGEs before they've even built something, or before, in the case of games, oftentimes they don't even have a game out and they've already got, a token live. So we're confident that our project is mature enough to, even handle a market that obviously is not very kind for risk. And in our case, we are quite a low market cap project, and we've seen how on-chain projects have fared in the recent months. So we're just confident that with our community and the project with where it's at, that we'll be able to take on these conditions as best we can, and it would do us better than just delaying and upsetting anybody that's invested prior, and breaking any promises we've made with dates. And as for your second question on GambleFi and GameFi, obviously, like Brad said, we are really looking at trying to be the place to bring on the next set of gamers into GameFi. We have already got most of the bigger games onboarded onto the site, and we're looking to get all of these new listings, all these new games into the site as well. And we believe that our challenges feature and also the social and game questing that we mentioned are two great reasons for why a game would want to partner with Tribally. Obviously, the game questing, like Brad said, you've got a boost of daily active users across new games that might come in and they haven't got a community, or they haven't got an active game or an active set of players yet, but they've got a really good game and they don't know how to market themselves. And here at Tribally, we've got, as Ray mentioned, now 120,000 users. Our daily active users have been on the rise steadily, even before the play to airdrop. I think Ray might have mentioned we had 4 to 6,000 daily active users even prior, and that only bumped up to 8.59k during the play to airdrop. So we definitely had a community there already. And we believe that if a game comes to Tribally and they go, help us out, how do we make ourselves known in this GameFi space? Not only have we got the games questing and the social questings as vehicles for vanity metrics and just general exposure within the GameFi space, we then also got this challenges and wages feature, which can introduce this non-extractive play to earn and speculation feature earlier on into a life cycle of a game to, as I've just mentioned, prevent them from having to launch a token really early on or introduce these ways of earning in a game that are going to incite even, maybe some people like yourself that want to come in and do an airdrop or come in and play for the rewards. And instead of having to do that really early on in their project's life cycle where, they might not have the necessary syncs or value props for a token for somebody to want to hold onto it, instead they can go with something like our wages feature and bring in that extra level of speculation and enjoyment to their game without having to introduce a token and potentially kneecap themselves a bit in their mid to long term future. I hope that answered both of the questions. I know I spoke for a while, but I'm seeing Rare nodding his head, so he's probably got a point to add on as well.
Thanks for that, Indes. It's lovely to hear your voice finally. I bet you're sitting over there like, what am I doing here? So this is why you're here.
I do apologise to Indes for hogging the mic. However, anyone that wants to talk to Indes can challenge Indes at tribally.games/challenges. And until the end of time, or sooner if Indes calls it quits, we will be live streaming every day at, I believe, 5 p.m. SGT. Time zones are not my strength. So if you want to jump in and challenge Indes and have a face-off in Axie Classic, Axie Origins or Aperon, you can do, and it will be live streamed within the Tribally platform. And if you are a streamer, make sure you
I don't think no one is in their right mind to challenge in this, especially in Classic.
We might hinder him, and we might give him my Axies just to see how he does. Because I do agree with you, it's a slightly one-sided affair if he's rolling out the OG squad.
No, man, he can't. No, he can only roll with 2 axes if that mechanics is even working. Because Indes, I heard, is the god over there. So whatever axis you give him, he's gonna be able to play around with it. But the challenge is on. So thanks a lot, guys. Time is ticking. It's 9 p.m. now. Jakarta time, 10 p.m. Singapore time. I hope that everyone get an insight. Thank you so much, Ren Indes, for your time today. I know it's crazy to have you guys hop onto this AMA one day before your TGE, so I truly appreciate it. When you say that it's for the community, I believe you, because here you are with our communities. And thank you so much for Wardi, Shanks, and Shad as well for being here. All the best for the TGE. And with this, whether or not airdrop campaigns still work, I think in the end of this call, we do agree that airdrop campaigns will work if the right mechanics is in place. And why do we do a TGE right now? Well, it's not only the commitments that we have so that we don't get everyone to wait, but I think the Tribally's case is that it's a testament that we depend on the community instead of the wider markets. If it's something, a utility that works, that could be rolled out, why not? Because it's the community-driven project. So all the best, guys. And I'm sure that Wardi, Shanks, and Shadley will immediately get into Tribally to see how they can break up the final points before the TGE tomorrow. I'll do that for sure, even though I might lose in a lot of things. But yeah, I'll definitely check it out tomorrow. So all the best, guys. And thank you so much from the community side. We'll have more AMAs next week, I believe. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, with that, it ends our first AMA, a series of AMAs that we talk about since we started our campaign of airdrop campaigns of W3GG. So we touched upon a couple of points earlier on, and we want to start this week by sharing with you guys what is airdrop is all about, whether or not airdrop works, because that's what we are doing here, and there's reason why we are doing airdrop right now is exactly what Tribally said, and that is also why Tribally is the first speakers that we have in the series of AMAs. The airdrop campaigns that we have, you'll be able to find out about it all in X. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is come to W3GG.io, mint your soulbound token. Now, a lot of you might ask, right, what is soulbound token or what is SBT? Everybody is using the same terms. Keep it simple, guys. Soulbound token is essentially just your ID, your W3GG ID. Or if you're an Indonesian, you'll have your passport. That's your passport. If you're a Malaysian, you'll have your Malaysian passport. If you are from US, you'll have your American passport. So the SBT of W3GG is essentially your passport to get into the W3GG realm or W3GG ecosystem. And that's the first thing that you have to do in order to come in, because that's your entry point to the list of quests that you could have to rake up the WXP points. WXP points is essentially what the points that we have within the platforms. And within the quest itself, there are multiple games that you can get into. You can follow their socials. You can do a whole bunch of things like level up in games. You can take a selfie. And some of you guys who were in CoinFest Bali last week, or right now, a few hours ago in Hash Korea, you would be able to get certain things, for example, a hoodie, for example, sunglasses, and so on and so forth. Because in W3GG, we believe that there's no division between Web 2 and Web 3 in games, and there's no divisions between the metaverse and the real world, and hence our merchants are usually very sick. Now, coming back to the airdrop campaigns, right? So first thing again, you need to have your SBT, get into W3GG.io, get into the quest, rank up the WXP. There will be a leaderboard in the end of the days, so that those guys who make it to the top leaderboards of the questers, you know what you're gonna get. It's gonna be a surprise, and I'm not gonna reveal too much here today before I get capitulated by my co-founder Chin. But it's relating to the airdrops, right? And just now during the call as well, during the AMAs, we mentioned community come first, and in W3GG, community does come first. And when we talk about staking, W3GG will have a staking platform immediately after our TGE. And some of you guys might ask me, when is TGE? Now, I want to hear more hashtag of when TGE in a different spelling, W3N-TGE, or when token, for the W3GG token, because it's going to be announced pretty soon. And hence, we're not going to wait for 6 months, 3 years, or some 9 months time to do it. We are here to have fun. We're here to rake up WXP. We are here to airdrop W3GG tokens to everyone by contributing into the gaming ecosystem. Now, I also want to take this opportunity to explain to everyone what this questing means to W3GG. The passport that you have of the SBT is your entry points, right? When you get into the quest, and you'll see some progressions within the questing platforms itself, is that is your proof of contributions into the platform, into the games that participate within the quest. And so that is, by having the proof of contributions into it, then you would be rewarded accordingly. In the past, there are a lot of projects that ask you to simply just follow social quests and that's it. There are a lot of quests that will be rolling up in the next few weeks that will explain more about what W3GG is, because it's essentially an ecosystem for gamers who would like to gain some rewards and who would be participating in the game economy. A lot of us in W3GG has been in the gaming space for very long, and a lot of us have been gamers, and we've been spending a lot on the gaming side. So now with Web3, and what we believe in is that we would need to reward people who contribute into the game industry. So that's what the questing platform is all about. It's linked to our proof of contribution, it's linked to the future of work. So make sure that you stay tuned to it. Now, a lot of you might ask, okay, so after TGE, what happened, right? So the tokens that you'll be receiving, they would be stake, and there will be staking mechanism in place. But unlike most staking mechanism that will be there, we would make sure that it's a combination of the WXP or the activeness rates that your passport is going to reflect, plus the number of tokens that you hold, because we'll have more surprises for you. Hint, it's not just going to be W3GG tokens. It's going to be, well, a whole bunch of things, because we talk about ecosystem. Now, some of you guys who just tune in right now, what is W3GG? W3GG started off as a gaming guild. Today, fast forward, we are a reward platform to make sure that where gamers and game developers meet together, and we could have a more participative economy between the two. And with that in mind, W3GG have started off since, I think, 2 years ago. and we just rebranded in July 2023. And during that time, we have invested in more than 70 games throughout the space. And we also have been invested by quite a number of good OGs, not only in Web2 space, but also in Web3 space. So make sure that you do check us out before you know the airdrop campaigns, before you start the airdrop campaigns, because we believe in the power of community, and this is the time when we want to give the best to the community. With that, over and out. I'll see you guys next week, and make sure that you come into W3GG.io, and I'll see you there very soon. Back to you guys.